Educating, informing, serving. Fact TV, keeping government honest.
All right, being 6:30, we'll start the Wednesday, May 25th, 2022 meeting of the Westminster Select Board. Any adjustments to the agenda? Paul, we can get you under other business, is that right? Yep. Okay. Seeing no other adjustments, we'll accept the minutes of May 11th, 2022.
I'll approve the minutes as printed.
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Craig, seconded by Katrina to approve the minutes as written. Any discussion? Yep. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Passes. Communications and public comments. Seeing none, hearing none. We'll move on to unfinished business, cemetery commission update.
I had Kelly redo your chart of people.
Okay.
there. So I think all you folks have to do is pick between the three of you who is going to be on the commission. Nolan Wright is still a sexton for West, and Chris is a sexton for the rest of Westminster.
Okay.
So that's all you have to do for that.
Okay. I don't,
Yeah, I will.
do we need a motion for that?
You should have the three for the record.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can do it as well.
You guys go ahead.
Well, that's two. Need three.
I thought you make a motion, that's what.
No, I
Well,
can't.
we need our three people.
We need to know three people. Yeah. Somebody,
So
three.
can I just ask, you're appointed a commission,
Cemetery commission.
Yeah, the
Cemetery commission.
And then,
you have to have three people.
Yeah, not a commissioner.
Okay.
Commission.
Yeah.
yes,
Can select board members serve on that?
yes, it's what it usually is.
Wait a
three.
minute, you can't have three, and then we have to have a one in the firm.
No, you don't.
You've got two
All it
sections
is
and one
is-
person, right?
If there's a problem, someone can come to you and you can contact one of the sextons. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's probably pretty minimal.
Yes, very
As long as we
minimal.
don't need it. As long
But
as
it's,
we're
but
in
it's
the,
easier having a select board member do it than having people volunteer from the public. So
And it's
that-
on the list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm the closest to the cemetery, so I don't mind doing it. Meaning in life. I meant to be tongue in cheek, but I thought I'd break a little, have a little laugh here tonight.
It makes no difference to me. If you,
I'm happy to do it as well. I'm happy to do it.
So good? I'm not gonna fight over it, so what do we want to do? I don't care.
we're not meeting as a group, there's just one, if you're
Right.
available, there's you and there's yours, so
Right.
there's no reason why you can't do
You
it.
wanna do that? Katrina, Kevin, and myself?
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
So you're just gonna switch it off.
Yeah, it's just, it's only as
It's
needed.
only, it's
Like-
only, yes.
Unless we want to break it up into what cemetery you're gonna do.
No, we just need
Okay.
Okay.
three
Whatever.
commission.
So I'm not one of them anyway.
Thank you, Ally.
Unless you wanna be.
I'll do it if somebody needs me.
I think we got three. You wanna go with that?
Yeah.
Greg, you wanna make the motion for,
I'll make a motion that we appoint just these three people now.
Yep.
To, as the commission.
cemetery commission?
As the cemetery commission.
Which are the three board members outside of me, of that.
You're gonna put the alternating board members, because if you write it as, you don't wanna put it, if you write it as three board members, then you're warning a meeting.
That's, but we're not meeting, we're just saying
I
these three people.
understand, but you're still writing it as, you have three board members that are sitting on another commission, aren't you?
I thought that, but basically what she's saying is
It's-
we're not meeting.
That's normal across the board in other towns. It's not that they're gonna meet for anything. They're not gonna meet for anything.
I'm with her as long as we don't meet. There's no
So
reason
you
why we
having-
can't.
So can you just tell me again, it's 3 board members plus 2 sections, you're putting 5
Yes,
people?
It's the three board commission with 2 sextons.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So we have a motion on the table. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion's been made, moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations. Okay. Select board select board member open seat appointment.
Conflict of interest.
Sorry, shoot, yes. Sorry, moving backwards, conflict of interest policy, adjustments, if any.
Mr. Chair, it's Paul, I was leading this effort, and if I could indulge the board and the public, unless someone wants to comment on it tonight, which is in front of you, to have just one more till next meeting. That way I can reach out to all the people who we had discussed on this to make sure if they want any input on changes or alternatives, they're on it. I know you gave me a month, but if I could have just one more
Could you look at
meeting.
6-2 when you get a chance?
Yes.
Because we don't do that because we had, especially when Sue was here, so many times with myself, because of Allen Brothers or Harlow's, we would just say, okay, we're not gonna say nothing. We didn't get up and leave the meeting.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
We'll review the whole thing, but there were at least 7 people that wanted to be included in the discussion. And of course, anyone else here, if anyone else is interested in opining on this, I'm happy to include you in the email. Jane, anybody? I know Paul's in it.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, so we'll be done, we'll be ready to vote next week.
We'll table?
Yeah, next meeting.
Table
for
this
sure.
until the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
No problem. Select board member open seat appointment. I don't know if we need an executive session for this. I think we're all on the same page with this, but I didn't know that to be sure, so.
Yeah, unless something changed, I think.
No, change mine.
We're just gonna delay it, or what we're gonna do?
I believe it's the privy of the board to delay until the next election, the next local election, to let someone run for that versus appointing someone to it.
I guess we could leave it unless one other person, in other words, if somebody else dropped out, then we will have to address it.
Yeah.
You don't have to, because you still have a 3-member board.
Yeah, but it's still, at that point, I think.
You
Probably ought to, but you don't have to.
Can I say a couple of things?
Yes, sir. Yep.
I mean, this was our discussion, and I'm thinking for myself, the notion of making a recess appointment. Certainly everyone has that person they think is qualified, or maybe somebody they think that really should have it, or maybe it would be in there. There was discussion as to whether or not, no matter who we choose, some people might not be happy with that choice. And as opposed to, since we do have a working board and we have more than enough for a quorum, jump in here anytime, folks, that it would be best, ideally, to allow the public to make that choice in the upcoming election. That way, there are no recriminations. There's no concern over, well, we use just executive authority to just make a resource appointment, as opposed to giving the folks their opportunity to make that choice themselves. This is a representative democracy, so that's at least what we're at now. Is that I think that's a fair assessment of where we're at the moment.
I think so.
Although I think we received very good candidates under consideration.
Do we need a motion for any of that, or that?
That's what I know. That's fine. But what he's saying is we should at least tell the people that put their name in there, they're not gonna choose somebody. To be fair to them, otherwise they're gonna keep coming back going, we're gonna choose.
I can,
You know what?
email Kelly and have her.
Draft a quick letter to all the
Yep.
candidates and say as of now,
Yep.
and then try to make sure they're invited to run.
Yep.
For election coming up.
All right, anything else under C? All right, moving on to new business. Second token holder. When we talked about last meeting, when we had appointed, or not we, Cassandra had appointed Ally as assistant treasurer, the minutes didn't reflect the token holder part, which we really, I don't think, talked about it anyway. So we just need to make sure, we need to be specific with the minutes, that they reflect the board. Drawing a blank on the word I'm trying to use, but that the assistant treasurer would be the second token holder.
Do they have to say specifically what bank it is, but this case is Mascoma.
It's Mascoma, yeah.
That's the only, right, that's the only bank that we have.
That's the only bank we use for that.
With Muskoma Bank.
Yes,
Yeah. Assistant treasurer will be the second token holder, with Muskoma Bank. Okay.
yeah. And at that point, Craig would be removed from that completely.
And you want that in there too?
Yes, please.
When I was here, they assigned me to two things, the token holder and the signer of the check, so just make sure I'm not on either one.
You won't be on either one.
Okay.
And that will take care of that. Anything else under second token holder?
We ever find the token?
Nope,
I talked to Katie and they've been,
so no big deal.
Right.
She deactivated it anyway.
The chip strange.
Chip and Ally are the two tokens, will be the two tokens.
Until we can find someone else.
Okay,
But I will be doing that job. Chip will no longer be doing that job unless absolutely necessary, until we find someone else.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you will.
You want that in there too, the chip strange, won't be one of those token holders.
Chip
Yes,
turned it.
for now, yeah, unless something changes.
Is it two people that sign in checks, or you and Cassandra?
I call Cassandra, so there's the one set of eyes on our work.
You have two? You have two? Two of them.
All right. Moving on. B, painting of the post office. I had this put on here because I know it was supposed to be painted last summer. I don't believe it ever got done, and in the process of between Friday and now, Kelly said that it did get painted a couple weeks ago, and I didn't notice it, so I wanted to just make sure that we were good. She thought it may have been Cole taking care of that, but I didn't know, so.
Yes, it was done once last fall. It was cleaned,
Okay,
sanded down, and painted once last fall, and then it got cold, so
Yep.
it has been finished at this point.
yeah, it looks good. I noticed it today. I didn't really pay much attention until today.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Good deal. Great, thank you. Moving on, C, paving 2022. Chuck and I have talked a couple different times on having a budget approved late. Do we want to put it out still and see what we can get done? Do we want to just do some heavy maintenance and carry some over till a large chunk, hopefully over till next year, and be able to do an actual substantial project, or how we wanted to to do this.
That's what the highway crew come and tell us what they're gonna do, I guess, yeah.
Well,
I mean, it does seem like a lot of patching.
That's my recommendation, what you just said.
right, I mean, right now, mix is high, everybody's busy, and it's a late, we'd be coming into the game a little late to try to get,
Whether, if we do get somebody, it's gonna be cold weather before they pave, and you never get a good job.
No, I'm not, I
Once the
don't think anybody's here to
temperature's
disagree with what you're saying, other than maybe it'd be the perfect time to try different ways of patching the heat system.
Well, that's what I just said, we're gonna take and do some
heavy maintenance.
Some heavy maintenance versus just cold patch in the
Right.
winter, right? Did you ever get all these heat things you mentioned?
Yeah, but they're tied up, and I'll be seeing them tomorrow, the Vermont show, the New Hampshire one's tomorrow, and it was, Town of Unity, and I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
But
What's
just,
the company that comes in and they pour the hot tar, you see them now all the time? You know what I'm saying? It's liquid and they go down and fill the cracks.
Person Dicom?
We tried that?
No, we do it all the time, every year.
Yeah.
done it for at least 4 or 5 years.
We've done it every year since I've started, first time.
No.
But yeah.
Well, just for the general public, when they see that we're not doing a large paving project, because we have
Correct.
spots that could definitely use it, but we're not gonna get nearly as much done for the same money right now, so that was our recommendation, was to do some heavy maintenance and carry over to next year and do an actual
What
project.
would be nice is next winter, right after the first of the year, put it out to bid, so you're first on everybody's list. Kind of already be thinking about what we're gonna do now, and
Totally.
have that all ready to put out,
Kicking the meeting down the road just kind of
spruce things.
kicked
up.
everything down the road, so.
Well, we did it with the basin the last time where they couldn't do it and they carried it over. It actually worked pretty good because they were looking for that work come early April and it was better and they did a nice job. Yeah. I think that's not a bad idea.
Well,
Check the prices in about November or so where they are, where people are finishing up and see, at least get the bid out.
when we get into the budget for the next year, the 150,000 is just not gonna cut it to get anything done. You know what I mean? So we're gonna need to take a closer look at that. But that's all I had on that, was just I think that sounds like the plan for this coming. Anything else on C? D, cemetery wall. We have, I don't know if they're in the packets over there, but this is the quote that I got on block material alone. And if it's something that we want to pursue or not, it's not going to fix itself, it's not going to get any better on its own. There was talk of using ARPA money at some point, which is fine, but it's still a committee that has to present it to do that, if that's something that a route we wanted to go. It's, roughly you've got, which these prices are over 30 days out now, so they're probably not even any good, but you've got 50, 51, 52,000 just in block. So you're probably talking 60,000 in total material. I'm talking 120 to do the whole job. If that's something we want to pursue or not.
I would say we need to still discuss it more because there were some people who didn't want to change the look of it too. You know what I'm saying? That was what they want. There was people that really wanted to repair it.
I totally get it. I think stone would look nicer, but you're gonna pay a lot more money than that.
Yeah.
And you're gonna end up.
And that's
with the same
fine.
problem you have now.
But I think we need to have some more discussion,
Yeah.
bring in what it looked like and all that before we go.
Yeah, no, and we could meet there.
Yeah.
Like we have with other
And
sites.
it was repaired at one time behind it, right, Chuck? I mean, when they put the stones up years ago, they actually did put drainage behind it.
Yeah, back in, what was it, 85?
Yeah. It's
84,
been 30
85.
years or so, yeah.
I did call a couple of different stonemasons. One, I left a message, he called us, I got the paper from the office. Then, So I left him a message, said to be interested in a quote. And then I actually called Paul Bemis and talked to him personally, and he said that he would get us a price on tearing that wall down and relaying it. So, and I haven't heard anything back.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not married to either one. It makes no difference to me, but I think stone would look nicer,
But
but
on the other hand, if you're not putting a good base in the stone to stack it
No,
over
it's
again,
totally
you're just wasting your time too, you know?
you won't find a dozen stones in that whole wall any bigger than that. It's all real small stuff. So,
Paul Bemis suggested that if you did that, rebuilt it, he would buy some different stone to add into it.
some with some size to it.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like, something that would tie it back into the bank, something different that he works with.
Yep.
I'm not a stone guy.
Yep, okay. Well, it's still on the radar.
Yeah.
So, I'll hound him again this coming week and see.
We can table D for now, and
If you could, and bring some pictures in of what this stuff looks like.
I gave Kelly a brochure,
Okay.
but I guess I didn't make it up here. But
Okay. Like I said, before, keep going.
Oh, yeah, no,
You just ruined that whole wall and you spent, you know.
no, totally, I agree.
I'll speak to that when it comes to my speech and bringing forward some things.
Okay. So we'll table D for now. E, we have accepting resignations. We have one other one to add to that. Chris Hackett sent one in for the committee he's on yesterday, I think it was. Do you want me to read these aloud or just accept them?
Yes, no, yes. So-
We have to make a motion to accept it.
Yeah, I can make that either.
Individually? Accept each one individually?
If it's different committees, so
I
it's
think it
one
has
for
to be
each
in the
committee,
minutes.
whatever the committee is, so we can find out which one they resigned from. In case they're on two committees, you wouldn't know which one they were on.
One, two are ARPA, and so there are two different committees.
Right, that's what I got out of it.
Okay, so we have one from,
Mr. Chair, can I interrupt?
Yes.
One before you start?
Yep.
We do have one that isn't valid. It's been, so you have it in hand in writing as a resignation. But I spoke with the person this afternoon, and that person does not want to resign.
okay, where do we have, which one's that? Oh,
That's Pauline.
Okay.
ARPA.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
she's here in person to speak for herself.
Okay. Pauline, did you want to speak to that? Josh,
Yep.
do that.
The reason behind my resignation was because Tuesdays are just an impossible day for me. I have two commitments after work on those days, and that was the whole bias behind my resignation. Paul and I talked. They talked at committee level last night and decided that there is flexibility on when to hold those meetings, and I think we're in a good place to move forward, and I'd be happy to stay if we could work out a different time, a different day, and I think we're there. So
You're comfortable with that?
I'd be happy to stay with the ARPA committee.
Okay. So we won't worry about that one.
Okay.
What you gotta do? What about Bobby?
Thank you, Pauline.
What about? No, I just met that with Pauline.
Oh, okay.
So the other one, ARPA, was from Bobby Kilburn. Let's see. That's not. Jeez. Oh, yes, it is. Hi, Paul. I suspect you may mean the 24th. Anyway, I'm in Omaha, Nebraska until June. I will not be in attendance. Also, with this email, I'm going to step down as vice chair. I just do not have the time to devote to this committee, and I don't like doing things halfway. Please feel free to keep me in the loop, and I will help as best I can. Take care, Bobby Kilburn. And that's the only ARPA. These other ones are. The other one. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept Bobby's resignation from the ARPA committee.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I just have it. The other two are Christopher Hackett and Cynthia Stoddard. I'm gonna butcher this because I can't find what committee it is. I just have it as development.
WECD.
WC,
Westminster
ECD.
WECD.
CD. Westminster Economic Committee.
I'll make a motion that we accept Cynthia Stoddard's
I gotta-
resignation from the WECD
I
committee.
gotta read it out loud. Right. Jump the gun, hold on.
Make the motion, now you just read it. So,
Yep. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that I will no longer be able to serve on this committee at this time. My travel workload has significantly increased, which is going to bring me out of town for most of the next few months. I really was looking forward to the work we were doing, but I can't do halfway, and if I am on a board or committee, I am all in. I had to pick between this and Parks Place and can continue to do that remotely. Jason, that means if you don't want to pursue the Zoom account for the town, if you were doing that, if you were only doing it because I was asking, you can probably take that off your table for now. Of course, unless other committee members want to have that as an option. Chris, since you are the vice chair, I guess that means you are the next in line to hold the next meeting. I will put together the next agenda, have Kelly post it. Waiting on Ally to let me know if town hall is available June 1st. Wish you all the best in the process and support all the work being done in the region to spur growth. If at any time you need me to help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Hopefully, with my travel workload eases up a bit, I can rejoin the effort either locally or probably more likely regionally. Cynthia Stoddard, Committee Chair. Okay.
oh, so moved, I just moved it.
Okay.
Seconded.
Can somebody just tell me again, I'm trying to figure those letters. WECD stands for what committee? What's that?
Westminster Economic Community Development.
Okay, oh, I know which one it is. Okay. Thank you.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? You guys have it. Are we racing?
He is in the lead.
He is winning. All right, the second is from Christopher Hackett, same committee. Good morning, all. Due to my commitments at work and to other boards, I will no longer be able to serve on this committee. Although I feel strongly in the future development of our great town, I don't have the necessary time to devote to this committee. I wish all involved the very best. Chris Hackett, Vice Chair.
So moved.
I'll second it. While we're in there, discussion, can I ask the question, who's left on that committee? You know, Al?
There's
I'm
only
an alternate.
3 or 4, it's not many.
It wasn't written, is there even enough to have a committee left?
guess that's
These
up
are
to
the people that,
Created the committee.
Sorry.
yeah,
Correct?
Yes.
They created the committee.
Yeah, that's up to them if they
I believe Mr. Jones
started.
started, was the original creator.
I think Barry is on it. Cassandra. It can't be more than 4, I don't think, at this time.
Craig, read the second, I'm sorry.
I second
Yes.
it, yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I can probably find it if you want me to find it, who's on that.
No, that's
No.
I was just trying to figure out who was left to it.
Motion passes. Forest Fire Warden. We probably need a motion for this. We have signed it already. I kind of jumped the gun on that one. We need to reappoint Forest Fire Warden, or wardens.
Yeah, there's a warden and then I have 2 deputies. I don't know if you appoint all 3 of them or if you just appoint the warden.
When I saw the sheet, I saw Mark Long on it.
Yeah, the
He's a
only name
deputy.
that's on there is Mark One.
That was the only one that was on it. that I
No,
saw.
Pat Hoss,
Okay.
Mark London, and
Deputy.
Yeah.
you. So who's the actual Forest Fire Warden? You are. So I think we should have a motion to reappoint Cole Streeter for warden. forest fire warden. And then I would think he would pick his own
I
deputies.
believe that's the way it works, yeah, you just have to appoint a warden.
Okay.
It's always annually, so every year we'd have to still do it, right, Cole? Right, so we're appointing you for this year.
I move to appoint Cole Streeter, Town Forest Fire Warden.
I'll second.
Craig seconded.
Thank you.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Read so fast, Cole couldn't change his mind.
I just give these back to Kelly, Cole, or do you take back, Kelly?
Yep.
Let's see.
Yeah, that's a state level appointment, really has nothing to do with the fire department. It's appointed by you guys. Fire wardens have nothing to do with the fire department. There are many towns that the fire warden is not part of the fire department. Yeah, they're completely separate. The fire warden gets $30 a year from the state.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I really like it.
Is that for gasoline?
All right. Employee raises, we discussed this when we did the budget. Getting close to the next fiscal year, we need to look at that. I have open or executive, because I don't know whether you discussed that in open or executive, so.
We normally have discussed it in open.
Okay.
Can we, be nice to know how we stand compared to other towns, but I don't know how you do that. Other than
Well,
highway.
Highway guys, Chuck probably knows that,
Yeah.
pretty close.
So I did all that legwork, remember?
But it's been a little while, what, a couple months?
Right, since that, most towns around us, their guys have gotten 2 raises since I gave you that information. Most of them roughly $1 each time. So we're way behind everybody else. Just,
Normally we listen to the working foreman come in and ask for it, and then we have to go and see if we can find it, and then we make a decision, so. I think it starts with, we never suggest to you what those raises would be.
no, well, we already discussed the first step, right? And we had said then, if we look back in the minutes, that you were gonna give them all a step raise to get them up to close to where everybody was at that point, and their cost of living on top of that. So that would bring them somewhere near where they should be, and then we would wait 6 months after that and revisit it, is what we discussed back this last spring,
When we
when we did the budget.
yeah, so this coming fiscal year, the money's there
Correct.
to do it.
So we just do what we talked about, and we'll be good for 6 months.
You come back to us and just make sure we did put enough in there to cover it, so.
Well, we figured it out that night,
We did.
so we should have.
Got it.
That's why we went into executive session then and figured it
Yeah,
out.
but we took and gave those people raises right then.
No, we did not.
No, we did not.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No, should have, but did not.
So there was just additional monies added to this coming.
Oh, yeah, you're right, yeah, I apologize. Yeah, you're right, that's all, we were working on the budget and decided just to up it, yeah. Okay.
So that, as a department head, you take care of those raises. We don't do that.
Normally, I would discuss it with the road commissioner, and the 2 of us would visit.
You know that guy?
I do. Sorry.
Okay. All right, so,
Normally, the money's there, and we leave it up to you to decide how you wanted to do it, because in the past, sometimes you didn't equally give everybody the same raise. You know, they would actually say, well, and do a merit and all that. We leave it up to you.
Right.
okay. I do believe that starts July 1, right? Oops, we'll grab Pauline first. Go ahead, Pauline.
In hindsight, I should have seen this agenda item and been prepared to speak on the same level that Chuck just spoke of, you know, what my department, how that statewide might look. I'd be happy to do that. I don't know, I should have thought to do that, and I apologize that I didn't. But if that's necessary, in hindsight, I would be happy to do that.
You could do that before the next meeting,
Okay,
or July 1.
yeah,
Would be adequate.
okay.
Do we need to table that until that point then, or do we?
We're not, we're going to say, because we're not really,
Yeah.
we're not coming up with that number. We need to come up with a number so that they're happy, but I think,
Yeah.
let's just go back and come back to the board
Yeah.
with how much money we did set aside for each department, so to make sure we're at least covering, that's all.
Well, I don't believe anything was set aside additional other than highway
No,
that I know of.
well, we would have put X amount more money. Supposedly, the town manager would go to each department and say, hey, how much more do you want? And came back with that number. We didn't,
Maybe he did, I don't know.
I don't know that. I think that's one thing. We've
Well,
had a lot of change.
I would think it would have to be across the board and not just departmentalized.
I'm on the same page as you are.
Okay, okay.
Necessarily, we've done the cost of living across the board, but if all of a sudden the work, I'll pick on Ally, if we asked her to work more hours or less hours or benefits and all that, you kind of do each one of those a little more, but we give you the money to spend for your department, and we leave it up to you to decide on how you want to dispense of it. We've had time where they come in where the person that was running it said, I don't want to work as many hours, so I want to give more to the assistant. As long as it comes out of that same department, we don't leave it alone.
Okay.
If you can get us those numbers, or where you think you are or should be, or what, you know. Okay, so we'll table G for the time being. Moving on to I, executive session, I don't see a need for any of that. Somebody else does. Boards, committees, and commissions. Paul, you wanted to
That
speak?
would leave me, right?
That's you.
Okay. Going back to your cemetery wall issue and funding. As a result of discussion last night's meeting, 5 people in attendance, we feel that the best method for considering these proposals of any kind is for the department head, the committee head, the executive, whoever, to approach the committee and ask for these funds. So it doesn't seem willy-nilly kind of that, you know, so-and-so was able to just say it, never had to face the committee type thing. We want to avoid that. So I don't know who that would be for the cemetery for that project, but send them our way. Certainly listen to them.
I would say Chris.
It would be
For one of us.
Chris and probably select board, probably Chuck. Commissioners, the commissioners should be involved, and anyone that knows about construction. Right, of the wall.
Well, in this case, Chuck should be, because it's right next to the road.
It's in the town's right away.
Right, if it was up on top in the back, you wouldn't ask Chuck to be there, but being next to the road, you would.
So what I see happening or coming down the road, Craig, is just something that you mentioned during that discussion. That is, you said that there's a group of people, quote unquote, that want to see the wall a certain way, or want to keep the wall a certain way.
Yeah.
There's a proposal here on paper done right now, maybe not legit for pricing anymore, that probably is nothing like that. So those people need to be represented. The people who would prefer this need to be represented. So somebody's going to have to take a position, you know, to get both views, both sides, or to send those two groups or group to us so we can hear it. That's what I would ask for.
We actually did do an estimate already once on it, to actually have it, and it was somewhere around 300,000, and it was so much money that we kind of set it aside. And that's when people say, oh, I'd like to have the stone, but I think even some of those people, when they saw the price, said, well, wait a minute, I don't know how nice it is, so yeah.
So, you know, that might put you in the hot seat, because you need to identify those people that want to keep the aesthetics the way they are now. That's it. So we can consider that, or you can consider that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that works. I'm on the ARPA committee also, and I'm not sure how that works with the select board being the committee. You're gonna come to us with a proposal, and then you're gonna okay it afterwards?
I thought the same thing when you said that.
Well, that's why I'm trying to say, there needs to be a
A
figure.
separate entity that comes to us with,
And I'm sorry, I don't know that, but that's why I'm asking right now, right here, who that person or that entity would be, and send them our way.
I think Chris is what, the cemetery director? or-
He's the sexton.
So,
Yeah, be Chris.
Kind of a gray area, because even Chris would say, well, what's that got to do with my cemetery?
well,
Because,
he takes care of all of them.
I know, but it's like so close to the road, it's really almost,
But it's holding up his cemetery, the cemetery. It's not holding up the road, it's holding up the
Well, I
cemetery.
don't care if you ever fix it, if you wanna talk about the highway department. It's not affecting the road. You follow me? I mean, if it was,
that's important to know. That's what we kept
That's-
coming back to. Like,
I'm saying it's not.
outside the road, outside the stones falling into the road would be a hazard. As a highway town, is really nothing that's
We
that,
would just scoop them up and get rid of them.
right, exactly.
So, I mean, so whether the town decides to fix the wall or not would not affect the road.
And I think that's what the board's had a hard time deciding. I think we need to kind of put it back on the table and find out how important is this wall to everybody? You know what I'm saying? If it gets to a point where it's so expensive, then you just say, why do we need the wall there?
You don't need a wall there. You could slope that right down and get rid of the wall altogether. It'd just be really hard to maintain. You'd have to weed whack the whole thing, but you could.
I think we have to look at all the options, really. honestly.
When we have a meeting, like, I know June suggested starting the meeting there, and so we can all stand there and look at that. What,
We've done it before, but yeah, we moved it, yeah.
like, I'm just trying to think how we can get these people together and look at it and decide what you really want to do or not do, or, you know, we can take pictures, but standing there and looking at it, there's not a linear foot of that wall that's vertical. It is all leaning towards the road, every bit of it.
I think we're down to 3 proposals, if I get it right. One is to totally eliminate the wall. What would that cost? 2 would be to put up this wall that you were just talking about with the stone.
And I only got that as an option. It's
No,
not,
that's fine. Like I said, an option that is no longer stone, but it's something that's actually more permanent, but it's man-made product, or replacing the stone wall. Those 3 options, if we could get somebody to come back to us with, this is what it is, then we would make the tough decision that just makes the most sense to do for whatever the reason is.
And I would be sure that the sloping idea, that you might not be able to do that. You might have vaults sticking out of the ground, you know what I mean, on that.
yeah, I don't know what's up.
I don't either. That's why I said, you know, Chris would be the one to tell you.
Well,
If
that's
some of
why I
these
said, I
options
think
are
when we leave
viable.
here, we almost need 3 people one person to come back with to contact somebody. What's it gonna cost to put this man-made wall up? Have you or somebody go out and say, look at it as an engineer, what can we do to just eliminate the wall, and then get a couple people that would give us prices for restoring or permanently putting the stone wall back in a manner that would look similar to what it is.
I'll reach out to Chris myself, and I'll just have a casual conversation with him. I won't try to put him in a corner and say, we'll bring in a spokesperson, but I think he's the best soundboard we have. I'm sure that most anybody's feelings, complaints, or compliments probably hit him at some point. And he can kind of be maybe he'd be willing to be a point person.
I'll reach out to the people in Woodstock that they do like 6 towns, and that's all they do is stone walls for different towns. They're out of Woodstock, but they've done Heartland, Hartford, and all those. I ran into them. I'll see if I can get them to come down and take a look at it. I ran into them before, and they were willing to come down and look at it. But that's what they specialize is in restoring stone walls, just to get an idea of of a company that's what they do.
Okay, so just a little bit more about the ARPA committee. We did skip April due to a power outage in the village, so we know nothing was accomplished there. Last night's meeting was pretty low key. We did talk about why we can't seem to get any interest, or why we thought there wouldn't be more interest in these monies, and why people aren't contacting this committee in any way, not by email, not by person, not by phone call, or anything else. So we're kind of we're going along on our own, you know, we're taking any suggestions that come. I've only had 2 phone calls since joining. Just to make you aware of what we're kind of hearing about is resident from, we all call Kessel Hill, it's Coolidge Street, but one of the streets up there, I don't remember which one. They have a problem with their water infrastructure up there. I guess everything from curb stops in are a problem, and the homeowners are responsible for those costs, which is a strange situation because I don't think we own any of it, from my understanding. I think Bells Falls installed it, they maintain it, or don't maintain it, and they collect the fees for the usage, although it does sit in our soil. Same thing was occurring in Gageville. I think a lot of that district up there dissolved as it was, and now is again another infrastructure that Bells Falls, Rockingham, or Village, I don't understand the complete inner workings, owns, and they have a bond out there also that they have to pay back, and got in trouble years back and came to us looking for help. So my advice to the person that called looking to see if ARPA funds would be able to be used for helping them. My knee-jerk answer was no, I don't think so, but you need to probably pursue the Prudential Committee next to see if that district is soluble. And then what we're operating under for guidelines in the ARPA Committee is anything that normally is funded by the town, anticipated or unanticipated or budgeted, is an automatic qualification for spending the money on. So that's a gray area for me, and that's kind of where I left him too. I didn't answer his question, but he did call and he did ask.
How have we notified the general public that they would have to apply, talk to Paul, or whatever? I mean, is there any information out there that the general public knows about?
I'm trying to think. I don't really know. The question is a little too broad for me to answer. Can you?
How would one know that they could come to the committee and apply for money?
I mean, even organizations, how would they know?
That's a good question, because even if you put it there, if you don't give people examples, then I wouldn't know either, honestly.
Yeah.
If we put something in saying, for example, you can use it to repair this, or you can use it to do this, then people did start to think, but when you say this money's available, I see it at all the towns, but I'm going like, I don't know who qualifies for it. So
I mean, even organizations like Westminster Cares.
Right.
So my answer for you, Nancy, is, and this is the best one I have right now, is the committee is in place for you to come and ask that exact question. Or you can email it in, or you can go it in there, whatever you
I mean, you're requesting money. I mean, I'm not requesting money, I'm just asking, how would people know to do this?
Same way they knew about this meeting, I guess. You know,
You have a,
It's on the town's website.
yeah,
it's on the town's website. You keep minutes?
we're trying, but there's nobody that wants to be a clerk.
But we do keep minutes, yes.
Yes.
They are kept and they are turned into the town and they are put on the website.
Would you be interested in
Two
clerking?
kept last time.
I'm not real good at writing stuff fast.
And Russ used to keep them before that.
That's my best answer, Nancy, is to come to the committee in any way you're comfortable doing that.
Once in a while, could something be put in the Gazette?
It could, but I'm gonna redirect your energies to the board because we're only an ad hoc committee. So if we're expected to do that, or somebody wants us to do that, then they ask us to do that. Then we go to the select board and we say, we need money to put out a Survey Monkey, a newsletter, because that probably is easy enough to just make the request.
Yeah.
So we don't have any of our own funds to play with. All we do is make suggestions.
Most people don't even understand what ARPA is.
Neither did I until 3 months ago.
They're still figuring out, they change it every month.
But it's just for the towns to use, right? It's not for like residents, it's for
Right.
purposes.
It is. So again, under the guidelines, which there were 2 of that we're operating under, it's any monies that were anticipated to be spent or unanticipated or budgeted normally, or reactionary to, that we would do or have done in the past, it's open for any of that. If we start to step outside of those areas, we may have to ask if we're able to do that.
There are specific guidelines as to what
The
that
guidelines are
money is
available.
for.
They were printed.
Are you working on anything now? Are you working on anything right now?
Yeah, there's a couple of proposals that have gone through. This equipment in front of you
Right.
was paid for.
I know since I've been here, you've done
So
a couple of things dealing with the fire
Fire
department and all
got a
that.
generator.
Make sure we get at least that out, that's an example of what you can do with it anyways, so.
Are you, can you clarify, are you telling me or are you asking?
No, I think when we do stuff like that, as long as it gets out and we put it in the Gazette or something.
Yeah, that might be something to put in the Gazette.
Right,
The ARPA
that's-
committee has done this so far.
That's what I'm thinking.
If you're interested, helping or suggestions.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to place in the upcoming Westminster Gazette for the month an article, Paul, you want to create it, just briefly saying when you're going to be meeting next and.
Before I answer that, when's the due date?
It just came out.
It's already, yeah,
So
so it'll be a month.
So we have plenty of time, it just came out, so for next month, you want to craft that, and I make a motion to approve the funds to make that for next month, for the date of the meeting, and whatever description you want to put on it, come one, come all. How's that?
Sure, anything that would get people to come to us, that's what we're there for.
Good, Nancy?
I'll second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Wait a minute, got cut short there.
Oh, sorry.
Your motion's fine.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just didn't want you to move.
No.
A new line.
Thank you, sir.
Do you
We
have anything else?
have another proposal for you tonight that I'm ready to hand to you. So, it is from the fire department. Paul will speak to it after I hand it to you. The only other thing that we heard from, help me out. The aqueduct. The Westminster Aqueduct hasn't made a proposal, but Linda Fawcett carried in some paperwork, and they're looking for a chlorinator for their system up there. So I told her that the Aqueduct Society should approach the committee, as I said earlier. I was fine that she brought it to us in our meeting, and we looked or talked about it, but they really should come see it.
How about Lou? You gonna get Lou come to the meeting and explain? Lou Blanchard,
I don't know, but yeah.
I'll definitely.
We talked that there's a gray area in there too, just to get it out there that, if we consider that, for which my understanding is the town does not own that aqueduct or that system, then do we open ourselves up to going back to this gentleman on Coolidge Street or Taft Street, wherever it was, and saying, well, we did it here, so I guess we should, but then I don't know what.
Has Jim Mattow opined on that yet, or?
It was actually his question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jim's
They may
sage.
find that people on that system don't want chlorine in that system.
It's awful.
I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
I believe the state is requiring that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we were pushed, to do that, then I would probably make a phone call to Mount Dairy and say, are we going to know what we should? Those are all we've gotten so far. We did have request from the new director of SEVCA, which was the March meeting, he said that they've outgrown their facility down there, and he heard about the ARPA funds and he wanted to know if they were eligible. My knee-jerk reaction was everybody in the room was no, because they swim in an ocean of funding. He actually admitted that himself, ocean of funding. And I was afraid that if we even entertained the idea of something or an entity like that, then what stopped another business in town saying, well, I need a new roof on my business, so can you help me out there? Which doesn't really fit the greater good that these monies are supposed to be being used for. That's kind of in a nutshell of where we've been in just 3-4 months.
Thank you for your effort.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
We're going to keep trying, but we really would like some participation from anybody, especially people, residents.
Where do you meet and when?
Warned every month, once a month. It's usually around the middle of the month. We're going to change from Tuesday nights to Wednesday night. After I speak with the rest of the current committee members, but we did kind of toss that around the table last night. Everybody liked the idea. That helps us to get Pauline back, which I think is a good asset with her connectivity here. So Wednesday nights, and we're usually at 6 p.m. and we try very hard to keep it to an hour. And we've been using the Institute.
What else you got?
Thank you.
I am now finished. I gotta give you this, that's right. A few extras have been made for you all to look at. I'll just set them down. Okay.
This is all the same here.
Cole, you want to speak to this?
Sure I can. We ordered 3 sets of gear last year in the end of, well, probably was the middle of June, just before the end of the fiscal year. We just received the 3 sets last month. We aren't keeping up. NFPA says every 10 years you have to replace your gear. So with 49 members at 3 sets a year, not gonna keep up. So that's why we're asking if the select board wants to take money out of the ARPA fund, buy 10 cents a year.
Any reason for us to believe that this would not be honored by the ARPA protocol?
Nope. I mean, it fell in the same category as the generator.
Completely confident that this would fall under the protocol meeting.
I would say.
That's a good idea.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Do you need a motion on it?
Yes.
I move,
I don't know, it's you.
Yes.
I so move. I move that the ARPA funds be released to provide the Town of Westminster Volunteer Fire and Rescue Department $34,350 for 10 complete sets of fire gear as evidenced and presented by Fire Tech and Safety of New England of 85 Carando Drive, Springfield, Massachusetts, 01104, and itemized under invoice 45337.
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion?
Could be a year before we see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The
Backward.
last time we ordered it was 9, 10 months, so yeah.
Well, at least it's a good start.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Cole, thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else under boards, committees, and commissions? Other business? Paul Guida.
The issue that I wish to bring before the select board attention is the existence of the 2 scrap salvage junkyards on Greeley Washbrook Road. I cannot find a blight law per se, but within the town ordinances requiring permitting, visibility, fencing from public view for junkyards. It's listed under outdoor storage of junk and junk vehicles. It was dated December 2005. These existing junkyard scrap recycling operations are obviously in violation of the town ordinance and create a public nuisance and an eyesore. They're an embarrassment to the neighborhood, neighboring properties, and I think impact property values in our neighborhood. I would also remind the select board of the money that was spent cleaning up a few years ago. The town had to clean up the junkyard across from the swimming area, and it was a pretty expensive proposition, as I recall. So I'm asking you folks to enforce the ordinance as written and require a cease and desist action from these people. I didn't bring any pictures, but anybody wants to drive by the place. And that's not even talking about, because they're burning materials down there. I'm sure some of them probably qualify as hazmat and so forth. And it's stuff is, I'm embarrassed to bring people, I have visitors, I'm embarrassed to bring people in that end of the road. And it's, it's, the ordinance as I read it requires an 8-foot fence. If you're in the salvage operation has to be permitted and requires an 8-foot fence to be erected to for the visibility of it.
Chuck, you have anything to add to that?
I don't know what the law is.
No, I'm regarding,
I do know there's something going on there.
okay,
Salvage. I don't know what the law is. I don't know what constitutes a salvage yard. I don't know how much of their income comes from it. So I would have to do some research too. But it's not in the law.
In this ordinance, it says junk means any old discarded scrap, copper, brass, iron, steel, but abundant materials not limited to tires, household appliances, furniture, wool, etc. Then it defines junkyard and so forth. It's your ordinance.
I think you've got all of that going on there.
Oh, yeah. But it's, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's out of the town's right away. So it's nothing to do with the highway department.
I just wanted to see if you observed it. That's
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been going on since.
Long time. So that's a zoning issue? Who would enforce that and send that letter?
It's your enforcement is in here.
Would it?
I don't know what he's talking about. So I don't know. I don't ride the road.
I can take it for a ride.
Nope.
Enforcement, penalties.
I can take the walkway home and show it to you.
The issuing municipal official is defined in Article 3 is authorized to enforce the ordinance.
I just didn't know if it was zoning, who would it send that letter, or if it was the attorney that would send that letter?
I have no idea. I brought it up with the previous town manager. This is long standing.
okay.
Nothing new.
I'd like to see it. Where is it again?
The end of Morrisburg.
The end of Morrisburg Road is you.
From the highway department.
I'll take you there from here, if you want.
Yeah, please.
If you got a minute.
Yeah, I got a minute.
First and second house on the right past.
So-
Newcomb Road.
Is it obviously a commercial?
What's that?
Is it obviously commercial, or is it somebody?
No, there's hobby scrappers.
Good way to
Thank you.
put it.
It's a blight.
Now I'll go look at it.
There's definitely income involved. It's,
Right.
I wouldn't say it's commercially, but it's, and it is an eyesore, for sure.
So,
Sell scrap for money, then it's commercial.
I guess you're right, yeah. Okay, I think most people know where it is. How do we want to move forward from here?
Why don't we take a look at it? And then come back next meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Technically, we normally supposed to have it written, like, the physical address and everything. So
Yeah.
we're not, that this is a complaint and this is where it is, and then we go investigate it. Well, I think he's bringing it to us, so.
Pretty hard to miss.
So we want to call that an official complaint?
I would think so. We can go investigate and come back. I mean, he should turn in what he's complaining about, and then we get back to him with an answer, because you're actually complaining about it. And
So you want a written,
it'd be nice, that way we're answering back to you, we would write something back to you, so we investigated it, and this is what we came to a conclusion for.
Email would be adequate.
Yeah, yeah, just need to be fine.
It also gives the legal party a chance to know their accuser.
Good point.
Are we good with that for this moment? Okay, anything else under other, oh, sorry.
I have something.
Yep.
On another nicer note from Horsebrook Road, I had a couple of people comment last couple of really hot days how nice the Westminster pool was that the Recreation Committee.
Oh, they cleaned it up?
They have cleaned it up. And I think it must be public knowledge that Dascom Fund has donated or given money for the Westminster pool, and huge difference, I guess. So I just thought it was nice.
People are using it?
People are using it.
Yeah, there seems to be cars and vehicles there. I don't go that way often.
We had a fishing derby there Saturday.
Oh, they did?
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice. When I grew up.
First one in what, what'd you say?
20 years.
Has it been that long?
First one in 20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have one thing, Mr. Chair, to follow up on our prior conversation regarding the select board's statutory obligation to review all funds that the town is responsible for. The town manager now in place, and things going quite smoothly. I would like to pursue that process with her, obtain those funds, the actual physical copy of all of our accounts, present them before the board, so we meet our statutory obligation to review every dollar in every account at least biannually and vote on it. That way there's absolutely no discussion in the future regarding where it was, that we didn't look at it, that we did, and we discussed it, and this is where it's at.
Be a nice time right now, because we start a new year.
Yep.
So.
Fair enough.
Good idea.
Okay. Are we?
I can have that ready for you the next meeting. I just had a conversation. I got put down Pete Harrison for the private, funds that we can't touch type stuff, because we don't get those at town hall. We go to Pete. So
The Campbell fund?
the whatever, you know.
Campbell Fund.
As long as we can review them, that's all we're doing.
Yep, and I took a phone call today about that. I just didn't have them all together.
Thank you so much, Ally, for all you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else on other business?
Yes, I'd like to request a special meeting to talk about and pursue numbers for a new town garage. We were told that at the town meeting, that that's what we had to do, to come to select board meeting to do that. And I'm on the board with a bunch of other people, kind of a committee thing put together to try to get numbers together to hopefully get a new town garage.
Asking for a date.
So yeah, for a meeting.
You want to be put on the agenda, or what?
Yeah.
So
that's
you
what we
have
were
to have a
told we had to do.
special town meeting, is what he's saying, to vote on it. They said it to,
You would think you'd want to come to the select board
Yeah, you
first.
might.
well, that's what he's doing.
That's what we were told to do.
I'm a little confused. You keep saying hold a town meeting. That's not a town meeting. A select board meeting is a select board meeting.
Special
He
meeting,
said
it says
a
special
town
meeting.
meeting.
We're told to come to the select board at the town meeting, we're told to come here, we couldn't bring that up, we had to come to a select board because it has to be on an agenda. And And that's what I'm doing.
For a
Asking
special
a
town
meeting,
meeting.
that special town meeting, special, whatever you wanna call it, some sort of meeting for you folks to get it going so we can get numbers rolling and see if it's something that the town
May I make a
can be
suggestion?
committed to doing. Yes.
At our next meeting, it would be excellent, I believe, speaking for myself, if you guys put together all your stuff, came in, dedicated at least 30 minutes to the presentation, and then give us the opportunity to absolutely then decide to provide exactly what you ultimately want, which is us to decide to give you a meeting in front of the town, yes? Call it official meeting.
That's the way you've got to do it, if
Right.
you're gonna pursue it, yeah.
So next meeting, if you bring in your stuff, Ally, do you have a,
For that kind of money that you want to be spending, it has to be a town meeting.
Right, that's right, we know that.
But you're gonna start the process here.
Right.
It would-
That's what
yes,
we're
yes,
trying
but
to do. So
It would be an informational.
if you need
this is
more-
gonna
if
be
you
an
need
informational
more-
thing.
If you need more, I get what you're saying, but this is what we were told, you're kind of shut off at the meeting, oh, you can't do that. And then you say, okay.
you know, I get it, but you want to start it where we
I get-
have a bunch of providence, like you guys, all the providences to, like Chuck had, this is all the stuff, we have it in the record, we put it on the record, and then we'll go through that process of moving and having some discussions, and then ultimately you guys want the entire town present to make a vote on this.
Well, yeah,
Right.
Especially if we want to raise for a bond.
And they have to, no matter what, well, my understanding. That kind of money, whether you take the money out of.
Right, I mean, that's really ultimately with the select board, you want the select board back.
I get what Kevin's saying, he wants everything in front of you, a proposal,
Yeah.
so that you guys can see it, and then you can proceed from there, that's all I
Yes.
wanna do, is get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about getting bonds or anything like that, now, let's get started and talking about it, because we obviously need to do something with this building, it's deteriorating, it's costing hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair it, it's not worth it. Why don't we build a place that will last the next 60, 70, 80 years, And it's gonna be a facility that we can put all of our equipment in, as we talked about before too, we could have town meetings there if it's raining, the whole deal, be big enough. So we'll get all of our stuff together and bring it to you guys.
Appreciate that very much, guys.
Do you have enough of information available for the next meeting for that?
I'm not sure, we'll have to talk to Chuck.
June 8th?
We can speak, because I want to make, the comment, I want to make a clarification, we were not a committee, we were not charged by the select board. We were just a rogue bunch of truck drivers, professionals in their fields, who just brainstormed and said, do we think this is feasible? Why are the reasons do we need to ask the town first? And we made our comparisons against the old building. People like Lucas, who are professionals in their field, gave us their ideas about what it might cost. In this world we live in right now, you're never gonna put a mark on the wall. So everything would be hypothetical, but what we, at the end of the day, and after a few meetings of gathering together and discussing this, and kicking the can around, we said, well, if you ask for $2 million and you only use 1.2 at the end of the day, nobody ever complains about giving money back or not using the extra 0.8 million. Just to kind of qualify how we got to this point tonight. And the moderator was the one at town meeting who said we needed to approach you to get on your agenda, just like Kevin suggested, to get in front of you, speak to you so that we can see if it's possible to push it up to a meeting where the town makes a decision on whether we keep this antiquated facility or we look at and pursue a new facility. And I have notes, I will bring some of the discussions we had.
And as we all know too, you also have a static example, which we've just had, for protocol and I'm not suggesting that that's the way you go, but Westmoreland just succeeded with its bond offering to build a brand new $2.6, I believe, $million facility for the fire department. And so you have that entire procedure, which you could yoke. I'm sure they're open to it. I bet that'll be a big help. Not just on, the process, but also ultimately the funding methodology, whatever it is that, you guys think. It's just a great example of something that was, not only they did, but it is successful, right?
One of the things that we had very positive feedback from residents that attended an open house there on April 9th. There was a lot of good support for the idea of it. So we didn't think we were out in that field. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, the next meeting is June 8th. So in order to get you on the agenda, if you had the information for that meeting, I would just need to know, like the 6th, no later than the 6th, first thing in the morning. Preferably Friday before that, so the 3rd. If you don't think you have it, just let me know and we won't put it on.
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else under other business?
Just quickly, I have a couple, I went down to the, recycling center today because they're doing an addition on the building. They were just under the permitted,
Square footage.
square footage. And asked the folks down there what that facility was for, and it's for urine collection, for fertilizer.
Of course it is.
And Rich Earth out of Bradboro is doing it. It's all certified. I made phone calls to Wyndham Solid Waste, and Wyndham Solid Waste reached back to me, and so did Abe from Rich Earth, and he invited anyone that was interested to participate, and they would gladly walk anyone through the process. But the facility is certified, and it's no touch, so there's no danger of hazmat type thing. So I learned something new today. That was wonderful.
Thank you, Alex.
And then I'm probably not gonna happen, but I was asked to ask you folks, would you folks ever entertain doing one meeting a month through the summer? So it might be a little bit longer for a meeting, but the summer, they're so short here.
What we've done in the past, because especially when it's already on the calendar, the second one, we've had some where we just did the second, and at that one, we would just say, let's just skip to the second one. So that everybody at least knows it's on those days, no matter what, because we try to move it to a date, and it's gonna be really confusing. And we've done a lot of that in the summertime where we only had that one time, and then we skip to the next month.
All right, I just was asking.
I don't have a preference either way.
If there's nothing that hot, and we've done it before, especially because a lot of people want to be on vacation and everything else, so yeah.
Well, it's time consuming too.
Yeah. We do it on the first, then we can at least decide that we got nothing that
Yeah.
we could start. Well, next month's a little difficult because sometimes we're trying to close the book out for the end of June.
Yeah, that's a busy month.
Yeah, but after that, yeah.
Well, I may recall that once we did just can one, I think in August, the last one in August maybe. I think we have one since I've been here. This is my last term.
We'll put it on the meeting, on the next agenda.
Yeah, just throw it out, yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
Just throw it out there, if you scheduled two and then you didn't have anything, so you didn't have it, so you just canceled it, at least it would be.
We're always the second and fourth, so you do the second. If nothing, we just everybody let nobody know we're not gonna have.
So everybody knows we're not gonna have the other one, but.
Yeah. Ally's doing such a good job keeping everything quiet, when it's boring here, there's nothing to do.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay with that. All right. Any other business? Date of the next meeting, June 8th, 2022.
Motion to adjourn.
Where did it just come from?
Motion has been made and seconded.
They might be monitoring you.
All those in favor?
Aye.